People always ask me, like, Joanna, like, how do you travel so much? And I'm just like, well, there's so many different ways of traveling that you wouldn't even, really, it doesn't take that much money at all. This takes a little bit of, like, alternative thinking. There's, like, volunteer opportunities that you can do. And in fact, let me grab something. The volunteer vacations, short-term adventures that will benefit you and others. And this is countries all around the world that are wanting you to just come. Isn't that awesome? There's like WWOOFing, which is like, if you're interested in environmental science, WWOOFing is the shit, man. WWOOFing is like, you can travel everywhere. It is like every country in the whole world, hence the acronym, like Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. Like, this is just like one of the most like influential things that I've ever done in my life. Because I was really into environmental science. That's what I was studying in school at the time. And I decided to drop out because I was like, fuck the system and shit. And it was just great. I had so many beautiful opportunities come to me, like when I decided like to leave school, because it was just like an absolute money-sucking corporate scam. I hate the system. Anyways, but that's what we are doing. We are finding ways to just play the game, to just like, fuck the system. And there's so many different ways that you can live your life. Don't drop out of school, though. I do like it. It's like once you get the right kind of like angle at it, like try to suck the government for like all it's worth and, have them pay for you to go to school and shit. Like that's what's up. That's what's up. Don't pay out of pocket for school. No. Education is free and it should be free. Anyways. Yeah, when I dropped out, my focus at the time was in horticulture. I really just wanted to just work with plants and stuff. And when I dropped out of school, I was looking around at different opportunities online, and I found this internship working for the Fairchild Tropical Botanical Garden in Miami, which is like one of the nation's biggest botanical gardens. Here in South Florida, there's so much diversity, and it was like David Fairchild, who was like a pretty prominent botanist and plant explorer. So I get this internship working at the Fairchild Garden in the horticulture department with the research and conservation team. And I'm just like, this opportunity comes. I'm working in this beautiful facility with like a lab. I'm working among biologists and researchers. I have this incredible experience where I was working with Sam Wright, the main botanist there, and we were doing trips to like the dunes and stuff, and we were like rescuing all the native plants and documenting all the invasive species. And I was like, get out, invasive species! Save the native plants and the fauna and the pollinating flowers. And we did that shit. We got seeds from them flowers, and we sent them to the International Seed Bank. Oh man, that was just so cool. I literally, I sat there like for a couple hours after me and the other intern had collected the plant samples, the pod samples, and within the pods there were like tons of seeds. So we carefully, we're going through the pods. It took us a couple hours, like a ton of pods with a ton of seeds, and we're separating the seeds and, putting them, in the appropriate, like, containers and stuff. And then we sent that off. Our work was sent off to the International Seed Bank. And that will be there for eons and eons and eons, because that place is just a, permanent collection of seeds from plants. Like, that's just so cool. That is also the coolest thing that, you never know where life is going to take you. and the overwhelming power, or feeling that I had to just, take a break from school and leave it to pursue whatever my heart felt like it was more important at the time, came out to be one of the deciding factors in like the direction of life that I've been on. And it's just like, I'm so happy. Like, after that internship, I'm searching more things online. Like, what else can I get into? I find WWOOFing, this website, which is kind of like a volunteer organization, like the Peace Corps, and worldwide opportunities on organic farms. They literally have any country that you choose from. You have a whole database of organic farms and communities that you can basically volunteer and work trade with. You have like room and board, you have food, and you have partial stipend and payment just to like go and like live and breathe on these really cool farms of really cool young people that are into the same shit that you are. Like, what? Sign me up. I recommend it for anyone who's just really interested in environmental, growing your own food, or just wanting a different kind of experience and maybe traveling a little bit to get out of your hometown. Goddamn commercials.
Everything the same way we do ours, because life isn't about whether your glass is half full or half empty. It's about filling it up. Sam Adams, fill your glass.
And yeah, so when I went, I decided to go for it. I was like, all right, let me buy one of those backpacks. At the time, Greyhound was having like this incredible deal where it was like a couple $100 for an unlimited like 3-month pass and 90-day pass on the buses. And I was, I was kind of like in the Jack Kerouac kind of romantic kind of, oh, let me take a Greyhound around the country. Let me go backpacking around the country like Jack Kerouac. Which was, at the time, I was 22. This was in 2012, so I was just really into it. So I did it, and, like, it's just, like, a really brave step, because you're like, all right, like, I'm totally just gonna dive into, like, what I want to do and stuff, so. I picked 4 different farms. I do suggest that when you do go woofing, you at least have a couple that you choose from, and don't just base your woofing experience just on one farm, because you never know what that experience, could be without the enrichment of the other diversity in the spectrum. Because when I talk about that, I visited 4 places, I think. There's one in northern Florida, Mary Springs, with Song Weaver, which is beautiful. There was another one in Greenville, South Carolina, Red Fern Farm, with the Mizell family and Meredith Mizell, who was such an amazing herbalist and like my introduction of everything herbal and stuff, I guess. It was like such a great time working with her. There was a farm in West Virginia that I went to, and there was a farm in upstate New York I went to called Six Circles in Ithaca, New York. The beautiful experiences I had from the South Carolina farm was like a very, very knowledgeable, like a whole download of information from Meredith's knowledge with herbs, and their very well-skilled, well-produced, well-put-together family farm that's been there, for a long time. And they're such a beautiful family. They let me into their home. And, we had many great conversations together. I was just, asking a million questions because I was new to all this kind of stuff. And she was very informative and very, it was nice to see that structured, way that a farm is run and set up. And then I went to the Virginia farm. And this is where it's a funny part of this story. But I like the comparison to have a bunch of farms so that you know what could or could not happen. In Virginia, the vibe was just really, really weird. West Virginia is really weird to begin with. It's like the Bible Belt, and the woman who, like, picked me up, she just had, like, a weird vibe and shit, and so she was, like, all negative and, like, talking about her dogs and how sad they are. And luckily there was another girl, her name is Sophie, volunteering with me, so we got picked up together at the bus station, and, you know, we're driving to her house, and it's like, it's beautiful. It's like in, you know, rolling hills and mountains and horses, a giant house at the top of the hill, and then like a cute, like, little, like, southern farm barn thing. And out of this other guy, the worker there that permanently works for her, what was his name? Walter? Waltz? Really cool guy. I mean, watched out for us and stuff, but we just saw the vibe as being, like, she was really negative. And, you know, maybe there's something on the woof experiences where, you know, I kind of think she was just taking advantage of people who are eager to learn and eager to work. So we kind of immediately picked up on that vibe, and I'm the kind of person that I do not tolerate that. I am the most opinionated and sometimes bitchy person. When you push my buttons, do not push my buttons. They'll bitch you the fuck out. And there's nothing that you can do about it. Because I will fucking talk shit to your fucking face and make you see what a fucking little bitch you are. Alright? But, no, for real. So we're at dinner one time, and, you know, this is like, we gave it 3 days. We're like, she wants us to, like, wake up at 6 in the morning to go shovel the horse shit from the horses in the barn. And her house is on, she has a, like, fucking mansion on the top of the hill, and we're the peasants that live at the bottom shack with Walter, and we have to get up at 6 in the morning to shovel this horse shit? Oh, honey, that's horse shit. At dinner, though, so, you know, she has her dogs just, you know, in her house and running around the property. She treated her dogs really negatively. And that's just a bad sign for any human who treats their pet like shit. You know, she was just, like, hitting them and, like, talking shit about them and letting them lick the plates after we finished them at dinner. There's some weird people up in West Virginia, I tell you. I don't know. But, okay, at dinner, you know, she's just having, like, these little, like, comments that she says, and I hate that because I'll snap at you if you're, like, you know, I don't know, having this snarky, like, little comments and shit. I'll call you out on it and shit. So, I did, and was just basically like, I'm sorry, lady, but you have a very negative energy. We don't appreciate doing all this work for you and not being, you know, respected or appreciated. And it's like, yeah, that kind of got her buttons pushed, and then that pushed my buttons, and then it pushed her buttons, and we were just at the fucking dinner table, all of us at the dinner table, and me and her were going at it. And I was like, bitch, I'm out. And Sophie, the other volunteer, felt the same way too, so she backed me up a little bit at the table. And she's like, I agree, and, you know, we don't feel comfortable here, and we are leaving. So, like, we've looked at bus tickets, and we're like, okay, like, thank God I have another farm to go to. I'm going to go early to my farm in New York, and we'll go together. Like, this is West Virginia, so, like, we bought a ticket to, like, D.C., and we're like, let's stay one night in D.C., like, get a hostel there, and then, like, I'll go to the farm in New York, and you're gonna go, she said that she was gonna go back to the farm that she came from in, like, Pennsylvania, I think. But, really cool chick. I mean, she was actually from Paris. She was, like, an international woofer. And so it was really, really great just to, like, make friends with her and be in it together kind of thing. And she and I, like, you know, exchanged all the information on Facebook and stuff. And we went to D.C. together. We had a great time. We had a really great time. We explored the city. You know, it was like making something positive out of, like, a negative experience. Like, we just bounced the fuck out of that place because it was not cool. And we went to D.C. and we just had fun. We had fun together exploring that city. And then, like, like one day there, and then we went our separate ways. Like I went to New York and she went to Pennsylvania. Cool story is like later on in life. This is why like these cool connections come in like so handy. I went traveling around in Europe. I went backpacking in Europe a couple years later. And she was one of the people that I reached out to when I was in Paris because of the whole cool exchange that we had. I reached out and I was like, hey, Sophie, like, I'm here in Paris. I'm visiting. Can we grab a cup of coffee? And she was like, yeah, totally. And it was great because it was like I knew I had a friend going to Paris and stuff where like before, like, okay, I'll just meet people there. I love connecting with people because, you know, later on in life, you never know where it's going to take you. And so it's really great to, you know, connect like that. And it was just really cool. Yeah, dude, we're at a coffee shop in Paris. Like, it was just so great. We went everywhere. Then I went to the farm in New York. Oh my gosh. I can't say enough about Ithaca, upstate New York. Beautiful, sacred land. Six Circles Farm, where I had the most amazing connection with everybody there. It's like the most beautiful piece of property because it's giant. There's a big family house. There's a big red barn. There's a bunch of like tenting, you know, tent options. And there's also another kind of off-grid like cabin that people stay at and an RV. And it's like rolling hills of beautiful cliffside, waterside by the Finger Lakes. Like there's a path to go down to the giant lake where we have windsurfing and, you know, kayaking and swimming during the summer. It was just like something out of a movie. Woods to go explore. And the Eisman family, which is just the most beautiful family ever. Lael and Jacob, they had two girlfriends at the time, which were like old friends of theirs that grew up together, and their parents, his dad is a doctor, and actually he went to the University of Miami, which I thought was cool. We connected about that. And there were a bunch of young people staying there at the same time I was. There was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us. And it was just such like a great mix. It was like very hippie vibe, very like, let's, you know, pick the carrots, wash the carrots, you know, pick the kale during the day. And after work, you know, like let's wash up and like let's make some nice food together. Let's share it in a nice meal. Let's grab some beer from the store. Let's like sing guitar by the fire and shit. And it was just really, 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 really cool. The whole, I spent the most time there because of the shortened trip in West Virginia. I extended the time in New York. And so that was my favorite place because of how amazing everything was at the time. You know, Sylvia from Germany, beautiful, beautiful girl. She was just like such an incredible energy. And she had her like going away party, which was pretty epic. I came there at the like, you know, end of her like time there. So I got to witness, just like a big freaking party, a big awesome get together of like all the people in Ithaca are very progressive. They have like the most incredible farmers market, like everything's green and organic, everyone's into herbs. Like they have the Cornell University there, so it's like a very, very plugged in, very cool place, you know. And the Eisman family is just, they're just so open and they're just so supportive, you know, of them doing their dream and just making this amazing community that inspires others and teaches others. And I think they have an idea, but I don't know how much Jacob and Lael, if you guys know, how big of an influence you make on people's lives. Because like it really certainly did for me. And when I think about like, you know, happy times in my life, it's definitely a big part of it is like I picture myself like meditating, and it's like I'm at 6 circles, and like whatever's going on in my life, I can just think about the beauty of 6 circles, and I'm at peace. And Jacqueline, who was just so great. I mean, she taught these herbalist classes, and she had a beautiful garden, and yeah. This video is going to get way long now, so I want to conclude with the experience of woofing is a very, like, enriching experience, from traveling to meeting people to just like learning more about what you want to do in regards to sustainability, herbalism, or just, you know, food production in general, farm skills and stuff. You bring your applications and you apply them in a setting where you have lots of people your age doing the things you like to do also. So it's very cool, and I recommend it, definitely. The next places I want to go to is I want to woof in Italy, and I want to woof in Greece, because I think it'd be the most beautiful experience to see Greece and the ancient ruins, and then maybe do a little wine, or maybe do a little like olive the harvesting. I don't know, but I'm really excited. I'm going to plan it out for maybe next year. So if any of you guys want to come, you are welcome to join me. And yeah, stay tuned for my next informative video. And yeah, peace out, man.